8 p.m. Florida Gators legend and New York Mets star Pete Alonso will represent the National League in tonight's game in his 5th All-Star appearance. It's 86 degrees at 2 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, Lauren Brooks, Taylor Dahl, and Tom McManus. This is
Helmets and Heels.
Helmets and Heels on 1010XL.
I told y'all yesterday a new open was coming soon. I was clairvoyant in that regard. But yes, welcome in officially to the open, Tom McManus.
That's right. It's great to be here. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Yeah, man. You said we got to get it done. So I'm impressed, LB. One day you got it done.
I get things done around
One day. That's good.
All right, let's talk. Since you're a former linebacker, let's talk about some linebackers today. So I want to go back in your career. When did you start playing linebacker? When did you know that was definitely going to be your position for both college and the NFL?
6th grade, I think, I had no idea about the NFL, but I started playing in 6th grade. I started playing in 4th grade. They tried to make me a quarterback, but I couldn't really throw very well. So I played
that doesn't
linebacker.
Work very well, then.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Blake
It did go hand in hand. Those skills weren't mine. Played a little running back. Got to high school. Played linebacker. Played tight end. Played offensive tackle when they needed me to. BC was all linebacker. Started off as a short yardage and goal line linebacker, and then earned my right to be a full-time starter under Tom Coughlin once he got there. And then with the Jags, kind of same thing. I came in as a backer. I had to learn how to survive on special teams, and I think I made my way by short yardage and goal line because I was pretty good at stopping the run. I had good instinct. I was taught Pat McCormick was this GA from Brown. He played at Brown, but he was our GA. He sat me down with old 8mm tape. He kept having to splice it when it would break. It was just, but he'd show me how it was really invaluable how to key a back, and he would show me the different planes the backs can take. There's only so many planes they can take. Meaning, if it's a sweep, it's a certain plane. If it's a bubble, he's probably cutting it back. If he hops, it's like a draw. It could be a screen. You got to see how the line's set up. He was like, never look at the line, but see the line. Mm-hmm. And it was just great. It gave me great instincts to make tackles and do that kind of thing. So anyway, it helped me stop the run. So linebacker came early. You know, my dad he played linebacker and fullback back in the leather helmet era before and after World War II. So he knew the game very well. And he was always just like, look, you got out physical. Like if you the belief was, and this was in anything, but if you out physicaled the opponent, you had a chance to win. You know, and if you didn't, you better have some really fast, skilled guys that can outrun everybody. Yeah. Because if you don't, you're going to get beat up. So you should always be physical. And that was like basketball, rebound. He would listen. I could score 20 points. He'd be like, yeah, but you didn't rebound. You didn't. That kid pushed you out of the way. Yeah. You know, you can't let that happen. Blocking the plate in baseball is all kind of the same kind of thing. But yeah, linebacker's great, especially in the middle because you're in the middle of everything. You know, there's a lot of muck in the middle, and you got to navigate your way. Those guys are big. They like to grab you. You're just trying to get to the running back unscathed, but it's really, really challenging.
But I do feel like, Taylor, this team, the Jaguars, have not, to Tom's point about out-physicaling opponents, they've lost a lot of those street fights in the trenches.
Yeah, and I think that we've had the conversation a lot, Tommy, of the kind of change that we've seen in linebackers in the last 5-10 years because a lot of them are dropping back in coverage and they're a little bit more athletic. But then you have the guys that can still do both. You have the physical guys that can stop the run and do that side of the job very well, but then still are able to drop back in coverage and be athletic and run fast and do that type of things. That's very difficult to find. So when you're weighing linebackers, how much do you weigh each side of that? Being able to do the coverage side and being able to do the run stop.
Well, if you're a 3-down linebacker, that's extremely valuable. You don't come off the field. You know, Foye Oluokun's a 3-down linebacker. He can be my dime backer, which means he's the only backer in the game. The rest are DBs and D linemen, or he could be one of my nickels, or he's my Mike or Will or whatever I play him in base. So being a third down, first and foremost, you mentioned a kid from Philly, Bond. He's unbelievable. I mean, he's all over the place. He can blitz. He can stop the run. He's got a great D line in front of him, which helps a ton. Yeah. There's no question about it. But I look for that. And then look, there are specialties. Like if you're a good cover guy, we had a guy named Eddie Robinson. He was a great all-around linebacker, but he could really cover, man. He could go out there and dime, and he would take that running back and lock him down. It didn't matter who it was. Eddie was just a specialty type of player. If you got one of those guys, they're very valuable. You always have to have a thumper, I think, and that doesn't mean he can't play third down too. But you gotta hit in this league. Still to this day, it's still physical. We know if you can't stop the run, which they haven't, lately, that's a big problem. If I may interject too, I think it was Doug Peterson's being a finesse type team because I go back 17. They had some really good players, really good linebackers. I mean, Paul Posluszny's one of the best that's ever played the game. Darryl Smith was incredible. I mean, Mike Peterson was incredible. You know what I mean? There were so many great linebackers, not to mention, Kevin and the guys that I played with, but true middle backers, man. There's a ton of them that have come through the ranks.
Yeah, 2017, you also had Miles Jack. You had
Selvin,
Yeah, I think when I think of thumper on the 2025 Jaguars, obviously we're talking a lot about Foye Oluokun because I think he's the gold standard when it comes to those off-ball linebackers, especially around here. But I feel like Ventrell Miller. Like when you say thumper, the first person outside of Foye on this team that I think of is Ventrell.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him. I thought he faded a little bit late last year. It could have been whatever. There could have been the culture. Could have been whatever it could have been.
Lack of coaching.
Yeah, or whatever. Just lack of leadership, lack of doing everything you got to do to get it done and not just thinking to get it done on talent. I'm not saying he did that. I'm just saying that I thought his production faded as later in the year. But prior to that, no, he was really good in the open field, very fast. We saw speed that we haven't seen at the position in at least a little while. And he does strike. He's a striker for sure. So I like him a lot. I'm looking forward to seeing if he's going to be the guy. I'm looking forward to seeing if your guy Jack Kaiser's going to break the starting lineup. I want to see him if he's a thumper, if he can really cover and blitz and do all those things. But yeah, I think Ventrell is a very active linebacker, and I like him a lot.
That's what's going to be so interesting about seeing Coach Camp's, what his defense looks like. Because you mentioned a guy like Zach Bond. Zach Bond in New Orleans wasn't anywhere near what he became in Philly. Vic Fangio, obviously the way that he kind of does his defenses and schemes everything is a lot different than what you saw from Dennis Allen in New Orleans. And Dennis Allen more so likes those big guys when it comes on the defense. He likes the more big physical guys. And I think that we saw when you moved to Philly and Vic Fangio likes those more athletic, and he was able to put Zach Bond in a spot where it made him one of the best linebackers in the league this last year. So what does Coach Camp do? And we've talked about it in reference to Devin Lloyd, for example. Does he kind of maybe make Devin Lloyd focus a little bit more in on being a pass rusher and getting to the quarterback and doing that type of thing because he wasn't very good in coverage? I'm interested to see all of that because I do think you have different type of backers on this team right now that can excel on different things, which I think is beneficial. I
think Devin physically can cover. I think it's more mental, in terms of that. I think that he could play Sam because Sam is a lot of times you're up on that line of scrimmage. You got the tight end. Sometimes you take him. Sometimes you pass rush like an old Kevin Hardy. Sometimes you're forced against the runs, and he's Devin. Say what you want about Devin Lloyd. He is a thumper, and he's good against the run. He's got good instincts against the run. But I think maybe a Sam position could be better for him in terms of being able to cover a little bit when called upon and maybe not having to switch so much. It's either that back in the flat or the tight end 7, or you got to sit on the curl. That's only 3 things to remember. He could probably remember that. I mean, listen, it does get a lot out there. It's not easy with all the different coverages and then motions, and they motion back out. You got to recount. You got to do all this stuff. But yeah, look, I think with Philly, what else did they invest in? That D line. Yeah. I mean, they got some Jalen Carter.
There's a lot of help up there.
I mean, you talk about going, playing behind Stroud and Henderson type stuff. You know what I mean?
Jordan Davis
and Jordan Davis. That makes your job a lot easier as a linebacker.
Which I said yesterday, I don't think anyone besides Brian Thomas Jr. would start on the Eagles. And then we kind of talked about it off air, but I do think Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker would certainly be in the rotation. Yeah. I don't think that Philly's left defensive end that's listed on the depth chart he didn't have any sacks last year, so these guys would be a step up as far as that's concerned. But at the end of the day,
and yesterday the text line was like, he's from Trayvon played in Georgia, so Philly loves the Georgia guys.
Yeah.
That they do, and I certainly understand that. Tom, when it comes to Coach Camp, to Taylor's point, as far as his defensive scheme, I'm assuming he's running a 4-3.
Yeah.
And as far as the guys outside of, we know the defensive front, what we think that's going to look like. I'm not 100% sure who's starting in the interior defensive line, but outside of that, when it comes to the linebackers, if they were in base 4-3, week 1 against the Panthers, do you think we will see Foyesade Oluokun, Devin Lloyd, and Ventrell Miller on the field at the same time?
Yeah, that would be my starting base linebackers. I would put Devin at Sam. I'd put Oluokun probably at Mike, and then Ventrell at Will, because he's got the speed. You want to cover him. He could be like a Telvin type player. But we haven't seen Kaiser, and I think he gets every right to every shot to see if he can break into that type of lineup. But, yeah, you're going to see those 3 guys in the base. That means 4 defensive linemen in front of you. You'll have a shaded nose. You'll have a 3 technique, a 5 and a 7, and then your 3 backers. So, and then your safety can come down if need to. Your strong safety, make it 8 in the box. Hopefully they don't have to do that, but a lot of times you do, in order to stop that run. So
it's funny going back to last year, Lauren, how many conversations we had about the Sam linebacker a guessing of who that Sam linebacker would be, and some people were saying, is it going to be a Muma? Is it going to be Yasir Abdullah was getting thrown into that conversation a lot, and then it felt like last year we got to it was such an underwhelming defense that conversation wasn't even being had because you had so many more important roles that you kind of had to fill in that just didn't take a step up whatsoever. Yeah,
and I think Devin Lloyd's a good he didn't play middle backer in college. I mean, he rushed the passer basically. I think what Devin Lloyd's really good at. So we used to have this package called the BAT package, and it was 3 down linemen, and the 4th guy was Joel Schmingy. You remember Joel? He was fantastic, and he could really rush the passer. So the BAT, which was him, he would walk up and down the line, and then whenever the ball was snapped or pre-planned in his head, he would work a game with the end. Like chip the tackle and have the end come around him, then they both come up. He'd do it with the nose. He'd do it with the other end. And it was very, very effective. And I think Devin Lloyd can play like that. Like, you watch him, go back and watch I watched the replays, but watch the film. He'll get up in that A gap, and he'll just slice through that gap. He's long. He's thin. He can get narrow. He gets through there. I'm telling you right now, he can be very effective in that type of role. And by the way, I think Oluokun should blitz more. He's always effective when he blitzes. I think it was last year at the end of the year, or 2 years ago, they started blitzing him. You're like, man, this guy can really blitz. He needs to blitz more and be a part of that, that part of suffocation that you're trying to bring to the table.
Well, and Foye played last year. We found out, just a few months ago that he played with a sports hernia all year last year. And so the fact that he was still one of the best linebackers on this team is no surprise. You also have to put in the mix Dennis Gardeck and then Jalen McLeod, who they drafted. They signed Gardeck and then drafted McLeod. So how all this looks, and Chad Muma is still there, but certainly we all expect Coach Campanile to have a better grasp of the linebacker position since he was a former linebackers coach. But also he understands certainly.
That was such a strength in Green Bay too. And
Absolutely.
So when you see that, those linebackers in Green Bay, especially in the time that Coach Camp was there, the step that they took, and I've mentioned a lot how much he would send his linebackers to affect the quarterback, whether those sack numbers are actually directly there. They were still around the quarterback and around that whole vicinity, which I think we will see a lot more of this year than we saw last year.
I'm a big fan of, if you don't get there with 4, then bring 5. If you don't get there with 5, bring 6. I used to love Jim Johnson from the Eagles. He'd bring like 9. He'd be like, hey, man. And he had the corners that, was the one guy? He was unbelievable. I'm 20, Bobby Jackson or something like that. It was incredible. He was from Notre Dame, I think. Okay. Anyway, they were great corners. They could lock him down, and he'd bring 8, he'd bring 9. Because what does it do? It makes that quarterback have to get rid of the ball like right away. Doesn't have a chance. If he's got a free rusher, he is dead in the water if he doesn't get that ball out of his hand. So it puts a lot of pressure, and then you can fake it and then drop guys off. I don't know. I like it. And look, Dempsey says this all the time. Every defensive coordinator always says, I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to attack. And then we don't see it. But hopefully we see it out of Anthony.
That tactile defense, that's all we said last year. And there was no attacking last year.
Right. At all. But I think his attitude, well, I think that's going to be part of his whole, persona and his personality and how he calls games. And I'm going to love it because I love putting you got to dictate. You got to dictate as much as you can. And look, if you drop back in zone and there's no pressure, I don't care who you're playing against. They're going to pick you apart. Yeah, they're going to pick you apart. If you don't believe me, Go to the Cincinnati game a couple years ago when, what's his name? Browning, somebody?
Jake Browning.
Jake Browning, sorry. Jake threw for like 380,
Yeah,
3 touchdowns.
Monday Night Football.
Nobody touched him all game long. He was just sitting back. Oh, you're open here. How do you like that? Like, is anybody going to hit this kid? And they didn't. They just sat back in zone, in coverage, and they didn't cover anybody. So
Joe
you got to
Flacco
make
did
sure.
the same
exact
thing
thing.
to the
Yeah,
team.
that's
All the
right. You're
backups,
right. You're right.
Were
You
able
did.
to win.
You're
Yeah,
right.
that was a Monday night game when the Jaguars were 8-3.
Yeah.
And vying for number 1 overall seed in the AFC, and then everything
That
fell
lasted
apart.
like 1 minute.
And then Kirk got hurt, and then
Then it went south.
it sure did. Things go south around here from time to
It
time.
happens.
All
It
right,
happens.
I want to talk more about Foye Oluokun. On the other side, he was mentioned in as far as honorable mention in the ESPN's top 10 rankings of linebackers. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
I want total control of my team.
Frank Franchi.
I want to be able to recruit anybody that I want. No interference.
The Franchi Show.
Whoever's trying out for the team, wake up.
Making the ride home a little more enjoyable. Afternoons on 1010XL.
Your grandfather was stronger at 50 than you are at 40. Want to know why? His testosterone was 30% higher than yours. That's not genetics. That's modern life killing your hormones. Stress, chemicals, sitting, it's all crushing your T levels. Male Excel reverses it. Prescription testosterone, thyroid optimization, personalized to you. Over 100,000 men are already winning again. Your turn. Try MaleExcel.com. Free assessment because you deserve it. Your family deserves it.
Football season is almost here, so before it arrives, I'm going to get my home organized. Lauren Brooks here. I'm excited to meet with the team at Closets by Design early next week and discuss all of the improvements they can make for our house. You can do the same. Call today and schedule a free in-home consultation and receive 40% off plus an additional 15% off with free installation. Yes, that's 40% off plus an additional 15% off during the month of July. Call 904-878-9393 or visit closetsbydesign.com.
Guys, want a golf course fairway quality lawn? TopDressing.com just landed in Jacksonville with the golf course secret for St. Augustine grass homeowners. A patented process that aerates and turns your turf into a fairway stunner. Serious golf course technology, but in your yard. Less water, tighter cuts, total neighborhood domination. No one else scores a perfect 10 lawn. Hit TopDressing.com now. You will own the block. Top dress your yard like the pros with TopDressing.com.
Storms don't wait, so why should you? Protect your home and your wallet with Universal Roof and Contracting. Save 15% on roof replacements and repairs now through July 31st. And financing is available with payments as low as $115. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting. Protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com. As a contractor, finding reliable subcontractors is key to project success. Prosser here. Guys, that's where Lloyd's Heating and Air shines. Not just your mechanical HVAC experts, but your partner, understanding every facet of construction to keep your project on track. Lloyd's will spot issues early before they cause delays. If you're a contractor with a need for reliability, visit Lloyd'sHeatingandAir.com. Lloyd's Heating and Air, keeping you comfortable in every season.
You've got a lot on your plate. The last thing you need is car trouble. At Maxie's Mechanics, we help you keep your cars, trucks, and SUVs running safely. Visit MaxieAutoRepair.com today for honest service, reliable repairs, and peace of mind for you and your family.
One man, one hammer. One place to hear it drop. Hammer Time with Hayes, weekdays on The Franchi Show.
On 1010XL, driven by Kia on Atlantic. Southside Kia is now Kia on Atlantic.
Reclaim a pain-free life with Rebound Rehab. If you've been injured or simply feeling the effects of an active life, you can rely on Rebound Rehabilitation to get you back in the game. Sitting on the sidelines isn't any fun. Trust Rebound Rehab's team of trained physical therapists to get you back up to speed and feeling full again. Now more convenient than ever. 11 locations to serve you, including new offices in Riverside across from St. Vincent's, Point Meadows, and Middleburg. Just log on to reboundrehab.com to see all they've got to offer.
How many grand slam home runs did Yankee slugger Don Mattingly hit in his career?
Filing an insurance claim following a storm shouldn't be an ordeal. Southern Oak Insurance's claim team prepares for catastrophic situations well in advance. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
New York Yankees Don Mattingly hit 6 grand slams in 1987, but none throughout the rest of his 15-year career.
Southern Oak Insurance.
Want your son or daughter to enjoy sports year-round? Then log on to I-9 Sports with fall and winter registration open right now, including girls volleyball at Duval Charter Bay Meadows, plus plenty of other spots and sports on the First Coast. I9sports.com. Enter 1010 for a discount.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius, or 2 half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
It's your go-to for golf talk. The Edwin Watts Golf Hour.
All we need to do is develop the rest of your game. Then you'll be unstoppable, son.
Get local updates, gear reviews, and all things golf talk. Saturday mornings at 10 on 1010XL.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites.
I'm Brendan with Checkmate Coating. We transform pool decks, driveways, and patios with pro precision. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Checkmate Coatings. Your floor's missing piece.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
We go together. Better than birds of a feather, you and me.
Taylor Dahl, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. If you want to get in on any of our conversations, you can hit the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, 904-641-1010. We have a question we're going to ask people that I think they'll want to chime in on here in just a little bit, but I want to continue the conversation on Foye Oluokun. Does he get enough credit, Tom McManus? Because it feels like he's been the best linebacker as far as, you know, the amount of tackles. Two different seasons, he led the league in that category.
Yep.
Does he get enough credit around the NFL?
No, probably not. Probably not. But that's because, we haven't been winning. It's hard to get, that recognition when you're not really winning. You're not on national TV that much. Nobody really knows you other than if they're really paying attention, And let's be honest, fantasy football, they don't really, there's some leagues that do the tackles, but most don't, right?
Yeah,
The defense is an afterthought. So you don't even, if you don't see him on Monday Night Football making a ton of plays or whatever, you just probably don't know who he is. So, but we know we have in him here, and he's very good. He's one of the top backers in the game. And again, the great thing about him is he can cover, he can blitz, and he can stop the run. They both need, whoever the backers are inside, the D-line. The D-line dictates a lot of that success. Mm-hmm. So Eric moving in and whoever that other guy is, I think you're going to see a lot better against the run and a lot better linebacker play too.
How did you think Eric Armstead played last year? Certainly Taylor and I talked about it a ton throughout the season. He was in the wrong position, but there were other times that he was playing defensive tackle, and I didn't see quite as much as I expected to. Like, I didn't see enough pass rush out of him.
Man, I tell you what, let's start with when he's playing end. Number one, he was always really good against the run. I'll give him that. I watched a lot of those replays, and my notes would say he's very stout against the run. Nobody was knocking him back at the point of attack. He was holding his own, no question about holding the force, all that kind of stuff. Rushing from out there just took too long to get there, it seemed. Now, when they moved him inside, I don't know. I saw a lot of penetration. And I tell you what, it wasn't just him. I mean, there were certain lineups where we saw Mason Smith, Armstead, Josh, and Trayvon, and they just collapsed in the pocket like it's nobody's business. So, he may not have had that individual getting to the quarterback, although very first game, that first sack was pretty beautiful from the defensive tackle position. I wish he did it all year long. But he was very effective by moving inside because he's that kind of a force. And when you got him next to one of your star edge rushers, it just makes it so much harder for those guys across to block them both.
Yeah, I think that's when you talk about the best defensive fronts in the league, there's multiple guys that can get to the quarterback. And I think that's something that we've talked about a lot of getting another edge rusher. You already have Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen. We've talked about that. But behind that, there's been a lot of concern in the edge rushing area of getting somebody else to produce something. And then that interior has been an issue in general. So I think expectations, maybe, Lauren, were so high with Eric Armstead because you're coming off the 49ers where he was considered one of the better defensive tackles in the league. But I also think he wasn't spending much time on the interior. So how used to are you getting standing by Mason Smith at that time? And obviously Devon Hamilton wasn't playing 100% either. He just didn't seem like the Devon that we had seen before. And so I do think that probably factored into some of the things that happened. But I think when you have Eric Armstead in the middle, obviously, that's where he needs to be in the first place, but I do think we're going to immediately see it. You're now seeing him a whole offseason practice with these guys on that line in a coach camp defense where I do think we're going to see a lot more of that anyways, but I think it's going to benefit almost immediately of at least helping the linebackers when you talk about that front, helping the linebackers, but also helping the outside guys not have to feel like they're doing so much.
Well, and it all goes together, of course. We talk about rush and cover. If the rush isn't getting there, you're asking your secondary to work a lot harder and a lot of times the receivers are so good now in the NFL, they can't cover them for 8 to 10 seconds if the rush isn't getting there. But I do think that that's part of it too. The secondary was so incredibly bad. This pass defense was the worst in all of the league. Yep. So I feel like that also hampers the defensive front. The guys are wide open, so the ball gets out quickly from the quarterback. It makes it more difficult for the edge or for the interior to get to the QB.
Well, if you don't collapse that pocket at all, or at least get your hands up, it's just a free throw. Yeah. That's when they're pitching and catching. You know what I mean? And when you go back to Armstead, so if he gets the penetration we think he's going to get, now you start thinking as an offense coordinator, like, okay, I need to help my guard, right? No, but then I got Josh Hines-Allen outside. Well, I need to help my tackle. Yeah. Well, you know what? I better bring a tight end in, which means what? He can't go out for a pass. So it does change the way, they'll call different things because he brings that kind of pressure to the interior. Think about it. Ledbetter, no disrespect, but nobody was really worried about him.
You're not game planning against.
But Armstead, you're going to have to. And I think Mason Smith, you're going to have to. I'm hoping Eric and him can really work something out together where, he's taking him under his wing and showing him. Because let's keep in mind, like you said, it's San Fran. Eric Armstead was an absolute beast. Now, granted, he had Bose, he had other guys, too. Yeah. They draft well out there. But he was an absolute beast from the inside. And we were expecting that last year. I think we're going to get it this year. I think he's got a lot to show.
Yeah, and I think we were just talking a little bit off air about what to expect from Coach Campanile, and I think that when you get the mix of guys, a Vic Fangio that he worked under, a Brian Flores is someone specifically that I looked at you as soon as we hit break, and I was like, if you talk about coaches, defensive coordinators that send a lot of guys, that's Brian Flores. How much is Coach Camp going to bring that in here? Because if so, then we've talked offensively a lot about how many different things Liam Cohen's going to do to kind of disguise things and confuse the defenses, but I feel like the same thing is going to be happening on the other side. Yep. We have to see it. We kind of had similar conversation with Ryan Nielsen last year, and it obviously didn't pan out. But it does feel like the combination of defensive coordinators that Coach Camp has worked under, you're going to see a lot of different things. And that's why we talk about the way the cornerback room can look different almost every single play.
Yeah, send Jarian Jones. Yeah. He can get after quarterbacks. We saw that last year.
Yeah. Nickel blitzes are very effective.
Absolutely.
Safety.
Yeah, Jordan Lewis now obviously being the nickel here as well. All right, outside of special teams, shout out to Ross, Cam, and Logan, of course, the Jaguars long snapper, kicker, and punter. Is there a position group on this team, that would be the Jacksonville Jaguars, that is the best in the AFC South? We will discuss on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
A bold station for a bold city.
We need you to be all strong and hot.
1010XL. Bold City Radio.
Big number number one Duval Ford is trusted by Duval families, Duval businesses, and law enforcement across Florida. We're Jacksonville's largest Ford dealer by new Ford sales with the biggest service facility to keep everything in your driveway and in your fleet on the road. Shop big number one Duval Ford on Cassett Avenue for our low prices and nationally recognized service-first experience. Big number one Duval Ford, proudly serving North Florida since 1916.
Lauren Brooks here from my friends at Terminix. When roaches move into your home or business, you want them out fast. At Terminix, they don't just get rid of the roaches, they evict them, and they work to prevent them from coming back. Because no one likes an uninvited pest. When roaches show up, so does Terminix. So don't live with a cockroach problem. I certainly don't. Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com.
I'm Chris Campione. Auto accidents can leave you feeling lost and overwhelmed. But at Campione Law, we're here to guide you with a personal touch through every step of the process. We don't get paid unless you get paid. CampioneLaw.com.
Count on Campione, Campione Law.
Hi, I'm Karen, owner of Clay Solar Installation Partners, your local woman-owned solar company. Did you hear? JEA is raising rates again. With summer right around the corner, those power bills are only going to go up. But with solar, you can take control of energy costs and say goodbye to rising rates. At Clay Solar, we make switching easy and affordable. Stop paying more for power and own it. Visit claysolar.com to schedule a consultation today.
Brackish Vodka, the spirit of the sportsman and proud partner of the Jaguars, is poured at Southern Coast Seafood, now open Mondays. Enjoy craft for $12.99 a pound on Tuesdays. Drink Brackish Wednesdays with $1 oyster on the half shell. Brackish Vodka is the first clean craft vodka made right here in Jacksonville for whatever your sport is. If your sport is crab at Southern Coast, your vodka is Brackish. Southern Coast Seafood, now open Mondays. Brackish Vodka, proud partner of the Jaguars.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
The SEC and the ACC will face off in Jacksonville at the 81st TaxSlayer Gator Bowl game December 27th at 7:30 p.m. Join us for Saturday Night Football in prime time at the bank. Preferred locations and pricing available now at TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On July 15th, 1923, Bobby Jones wins his first of 13 major championships after he wins the U.S. Open on an 18-hole playoff.
Right now, you may be running a little late, or feeling stressed, or overwhelmed, and you may be going a bit over the speed limit. So to help you relax, exhale. Ease up on the gas. You'll get there when you get there. Take a moment to just chill. This little break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Registration is now open for the Circle K Greater Jacksonville Kingfish Tournament. With over $450,000 in cash and prizes, fun starts on July 13th with the inaugural Kickoff Beach Tournament that has a $50,000 cash first place prize. There's also a junior offshore tournament and one for the lady anglers. Best of all, the winner of the General Offshore Tournament takes home a Contender 28T with twin Yamaha 200s. Register today at kingfishtournament.com.
It's Mike Dempsey, and now's the time to get your roof hurricane ready with Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jacks Beach. Look, our rainy season is no joke, and if your roof's got damage, leaks, or it's just plain worn out, don't wait. Apex is local, dependable, and will show up on time using only premium materials with ironclad warranties. No shortcuts, no stress, just quality work you can trust. Skip the storm season scramble. Reach for the peak with Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jacks Beach or visit apexroofingfl.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Come over here and sit next to me. You can see where things go now.
Tom McManus, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Tuesday afternoon. I just asked the question. I will pose it once again, and this is the one that I mentioned. I think y'all will want to chime in when it comes to the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, 904-641-1010. Outside of special teams, is there a position group on the Jaguars that is the best in the AFC South? I think the debate has to start with Trevor Lawrence versus CJ Stroud. I don't think we would put Cam Ward in this conversation just yet. I don't think we would put Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones of the Colts in this conversation just yet. But I don't know if you went around the NFL, Tom and Taylor, and you talk to NFL executives, I don't know how many would say Trevor is definitely better than CJ. There have been moments Trevor has been better than CJ. There have been obviously moments CJ's better than Trevor. Yeah. We have more evidence and history with Trevor Lawrence. Mm-hmm. He's been in the league longer, but I don't know which way they would go. But I could certainly make an argument that with this new environment that is set up where everything has been intentionally designed around specifically Trevor Lawrence, that certainly he's got a great chance by the end of the season to be definitively the best quarterback in the AFC South.
Yeah, listen, for CJ Stroud, it's his third year. So that's when you really find out. You know, look, he still had an okay year. He finished strong last year. Yeah. He threw, I think, 12 picks as opposed to 5 the year before. He was harassed. He got sacked 54 times, I think I saw. Something like that.
I think it was 63.
63, something like that. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot, which means he got hit a lot. Trevor's gotten hit a lot. You know, it's kind of.
The one I saw earlier was 63. But
okay, yeah, I see 52.
52? Yeah. Okay. Well, whatever. 50, 60, somewhere in that range. I think we're even less than that. But look, if you put a gun in my head right now, I'd go with Trevor. I'd go with Trevor just because I do think he has elite physical tools, and I'm expecting, I know it's year 5, but I'm expecting Liam to straighten his ass out, to be honest with you. Listen, everything was great first year with Doug. There was nothing wrong.
Yeah.
And then they either got figured out and they couldn't counterpunch, or something went on that didn't match anymore, and then it all started going downhill for whatever reason. We have the same optimism now with Liam Cohen. I think we're going to see some success early on under this leadership and under this offense.
Yeah, I think if you were to ask outside of Jacksonville fans or media, the majority would say CJ Stroud's better. And I say that just because when you look at any rankings, most of them do have him ahead of Trevor at this point in time. And I think part of that is because some people are saying, okay, he is already in 2 years, maybe feeling like he's ahead of where people feel like Trevor should be in year 4 or 5. We can make arguments of that, of situations and everything that has gone on. And we could talk about the same with the Texans, honestly. When you talk about their offensive line and their play calling and stuff like that, last year, the expectations for play calling were way higher than it ended up actually coming out to be. And some of that is the offensive line, but the outside world, but we've said that too. You were just talking about that, I think yesterday, Lauren, where you're saying the perspective when you're not watching every single game of a certain quarterback, sometimes it's a little skewed and you don't really see everything that's going on. And I think that's some of the situation with both of them, honestly. But I do think that this year, when, to your point, Tommy, when you're talking about CJ Stroud in year 3, although I don't think they fixed, I think they have the worst offensive line in the league still. So that's still an issue. I think they're going to still at the end, we will see what the numbers look like, but you're still going to be talking about the Texans having one of the worst lines in the league. And so, but for Trevor, you're in year 5, and it does feel like maybe I'm not confident in the offensive line, but the coaching staff is, because they made several moves to what they say is improved offensive line. So with Trevor, I think you're starting to run out of room to say, but this. And I think CJ may still have a year or two in that if the lines looks like what it did last year.
Look, CJ had a lot of success his rookie year. He was the darling.
Yeah.
Look at Trevor's rookie year. It was a train wreck. You know what I mean? So in the year 2 was a lot better. So, you know, I think you got to factor that in. Look, CJ Stroud's very good, and they do have him ranked a little bit higher, but it's kind of close as opposed to last year. Wasn't anywhere
light
close.
Years away, yeah.
CJ Stroud, I mean, going into the season last year was top 5. He was Jaden Daniels.
Yep.
And now he's dropped down to 15, 16 because of 1 year and what happened. So I still think, look, I think I'm more optimistic because of Liam. I'm optimistic because I know what Tony Baselli brings to the table as far as just the attitude and what's going to be expected. I think the attitude is changing. You can kind of see it. You're hearing from the players, all these film junkies that they are now all of a sudden, which is great. That's what it takes. You got to be a film junkie.
Sarcasm,
I'm glad you told us all in a video.
That you watch film. Good
hi,
job.
Mom. Look at me. I'm a good film watcher. But nonetheless, that's what it takes. But I think it's going to be a lot better. And if it's not, then we'll call it like it is.
At some point in time this season, I think we'll have our answer. I think through the first 6 weeks of the season, both of these guys have a lot to prove at this point in time based off of how last year went, despite, yes, the Texans made the playoffs.
Pick right now. You got to pick. Who are you picking? Who would be your QB?
I would take Trevor Lawrence because of what I saw at the end of 2022 with the comebacks and the beginning of 2023 with an offense that could start fast. And I think the last 2 years, the offense was not able to start fast, put them behind the chains a lot. And so, therefore, they were playing catch up. And I don't know that that's an ideal place for this offense to be. So, for me, it's going to be Trevor Lawrence, but by a hair. What about you?
And that's where this, to your point of this segment, Lauren, this is probably the closest conversation we do have of competing with the position group in the rest of the AFC South.
Sure.
You think?
Yeah.
So I think receiver and edge, we would also have to have conversations.
A conversation, yes. But I think that this one, to me, I could flip a coin. And I think if you're saying if you could have Trevor or CJ, the majority of people you could flip a coin and would probably go back and forth. And arguments are very similar to both. I think that, and we'll continue on the other conversations. Wide receiver, Texans to me win by a long shot. I think that edge is probably that next closest conversation. But to me, I think if you're asking just nationally, people outside of Jacksonville, Trevor or CJ, I do think it would be it would be by a hair margin of who would say what.
Yeah. Well, look, CJ's very good. He's got all the physical skills, too. He does see the field well. They say that about him, that he does. But now, granted, he got figured out a little bit, but that happens with quarterbacks. I tell you, it's a great one-on-one with the edge. I mean, Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter are pretty awesome edge rushers for the Texans, but that could be a good one-on-one. But I think you're right. I don't know. I think most people nationally would probably take CJ.
Yeah.
Just because he's still kind of the darling. He's, and Trevor's not anymore. Trevor's more like, we don't know. Let's see what happens. We hope that this is the year. This is where it clicks. Year 5, what have you. Where in CJ, look, it was a down year from the year 1. But overall, he's had 2 pretty good years.
So
know what
who
I mean?
are you taking? CJ or Trevor?
I'd still take Trevor, but I think nationally people would take CJ.
But
I do.
It also goes to show you how bad the division is that we're not even discussing other quarterbacks.
Forget the other teams.
Cam Ward could,
by the end of the year, it could be a different conversation.
Yeah, maybe.
I doubt
for
it,
sure.
but
with him, not Anthony, I don't think.
Yeah, that team, I think, has a ways to go roster construction-wise. Yeah, and then Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones. Anthony Richardson has a great set of tools if we're talking about just the physical tools like what Trevor has. But I don't think the mental aspect of his game is anywhere near where it needs to be, and it's because he hasn't played enough football. We know
he's hurt.
He's hurt a lot.
Yeah.
He didn't start a lot, whether it's college. He hasn't started a lot for the Colts.
Well, and I think that with Cam Ward, if this season he has, and talking about the roster construction, obviously their team is pretty below the what the Jags and Texans especially have built. So if he does have a season where he throws 25 interceptions and 6 picks and looks good, then I think that's even more evidence that Cam Ward could be something. And so I do think that even if the Texans as a whole, they're not winning a lot of games, if we're talking about statistically and you're seeing on the field visually what Cam Ward can be, then he could be in the conversation by the end of the year. I don't know if I'm there yet. I do think they'll have to help him a little bit more than what they have. But if they do, then that's going to be a conversation to have, kind of like Jaden Daniels.
A year changes everything. I mean, it for every player for the most part. It does. You have a big year. I mean, look at Jawan Jennings. He just signed a new deal 2 years ago. Had a big year. He's like, I want more money. I'm worth more. But it does.
It can change. On his team.
And these rankings, all these rankings that are out there, they change in 1 year, especially with quarterback. Now, maybe not breaking into the top 5 or 3, but you can move up from 15 to 8 all day long if you have a good, solid year. That's worthy of that kind of ranking. Yeah. So. Again, I'll use CJ as an example. Last year, they top 5. This year, top 15. Yeah.
And the year before, when with Trevor coming out of that 2022 season, he was up there for a lot of people. He was 5'6" for the majority of those rankings. He was.
Good point. Yeah.
We know rankings don't matter. At the end of the day, the wins and losses for the team matter. The postseason matters. Yeah. By the way, I did see over-unders for Trevor Lawrence.
Those top 4 quarterback rankings seem to match up pretty well, though.
That they do.
Yeah, they do.
His over-under for yards, 3,700.5.
Who?
So, Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
That should be no
touchdowns,
problem.
22.5, passing touchdowns, and then interceptions, 12.5. To me, Cam Ward's numbers would probably be more like probably the same amount of yards, but then his the way
interceptions
played,
more, I'm guessing. Yeah, because he's more of
touchdowns,
gunslinger type of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, 4,000 yards divided by 17 is like 237 or something like that. That's not a monster game in the NFL.
Yeah.
5,000 is like 293, I think, from what I remember. Now you're like, okay, this guy's whipping the ball all over the place. And then in between, you're in between. You know what I mean? So the yards to me.
I don't care about yards. I could care less about yards.
I take the over in the yards all day long.
I would take
3,700. He better.
Yeah.
Jeez, it's like 200 a game. Like it's like 189 a game. Get out of here with that stuff.
Obviously, part of it is because he hasn't finished the season the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Cam Ward's numbers, 3,200 and a half, 19 and a half touchdowns, 12 and a half interceptions.
So that seems.
I knew the interceptions
what I would
be
guess.
high. Yeah.
Same interceptions as Trev.
Same
Wow.
Same interceptions as Trevor.
Yeah.
And that's interesting.
And again, that's where the biggest conversation.
CJ had 12 last year. Stroud had 12 last year.
Yeah, 5 his rookie season and then 12 interceptions last year. Yeah, the biggest conversation with Trevor is, can he take care of the football? Can he make accurate throws? And I can guarantee you we will talk a ton of Trevor Lawrence. Training camp begins a week from tomorrow, and then the pads go on July 28th, and then that's when the bullets start flying. Certainly, we'll be having a ton of conversations about Trevor Lawrence. All right, let's get it to the wide receivers. You think the Texans are a clear number one, Taylor, and then would you have Jaguars too?
Yeah, probably. I think Brian Thomas Jr. definitely pulls that up and makes them 2.
And then Colts 3 and then Titans 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would really argue I understand the Texans have multiple guys that have proven it in this league, from a Nico Collins to a Christian Kirk, certainly. But at the same time,
and tanked out, and I'm including him even though he's injured,
and I'm not including him because he's not going to play this year.
Because I was just looking at their room,
right?
Yeah. Indy's pretty good. Michael Pittman Jr. is pretty darn good wide receiver. Alec Pierce, good wide receiver.
And that's what I think they're good. I think people may battle that a little bit with Jacksonville, but I do think Brian Thomas Jr. will be better than both of them, so that does up it a little bit. But to me, Houston with Nico Collins is one of my favorite wide receivers in the league, and then Tank Dell, and that's what I'm looking at. Just the wide receiver room as a whole. And then I've already shared how much the 2 guys they drafted, I love too. Yep. And I think they're going to be really good. So to me, the Texans clear it, and that's mainly because TBD on Travis Hunter for me. And I feel like if Travis Hunter comes in and is a big playmaker on the offensive side of the ball right away, which Tommy, you and I have both kind of said we can expect that to happen, then you are closer than what I feel like right now.
Yeah. And I love what I think Dyami Brown is going to mean for this team, Tom, as far as what we've seen through OTAs, through mandatory minicamp.
Agreed.
I think they're going to play Travis Hunter a lot on the offensive side of the ball with the speed of all 3 of those guys. Like, to me, that's going to allow Trevor to really access the best part of his game. Yeah. And so I'm super excited about the Jags receiving trio. But I also didn't go to Texans, Titans, or Colts OTAs and mandatory minicamp. So the things that have excited me, I'm also aware that I haven't seen that from those other guys.
Yeah, and let's not forget, look, they're raving about Christian Kirk out there in Houston. And if he can stay healthy,
you saw healthy Kirk here, what he adds to your
He's
offense.
a great player when he's healthy. That was the problem, though. He had trouble staying healthy. You know, and here's devil's advocate on Dyami Brown. Other than the playoffs of last year, what do you know about him?
That's been my argument.
I like him. I'm watching him out on the field just like everybody else. He seemed faster than everybody else. They caught him on an end around, and he caught everybody off guard. Nobody caught him. He's making plays. He's making one-handed catches, making catches over the middle. He looks the part. But other than the playoffs of last year, and other than maybe a Commanders fan, what do we know about Dyami Brown? You know what I mean? So I don't know. And then Travis, look, we think it's going to be great, but we got to see it too.
And then at that point, you have one wide receiver.
And the definitive, though, is Brian Thomas. We know what we got out of Thomas. We also know what we have out of Parker Washington, which he's number 4 right now. But so you got 2 out of the 4 that and the other 2, that's a lot of upside to look forward to.
Which, by the way, feel free to target Brian Thomas Jr. to start games instead of waiting until the second
you're
half.
Like, we have to actually score.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, to me, when we see training camp starting next week, Tom and Taylor, that to me is going to be interesting, is which of these receivers does Trevor Lawrence target the most? Through the offseason program, it to me looked like he had the best chemistry with Dyami Brown, which is intriguing because, of course, he's the newest one. Yeah. Yep. Travis Hunter's new, but that's going to be interesting to see how the offense flows. And do we see a lot of targets to Brenton Strange when it comes to training camp starting next week?
Yeah, listen, if you go by what they did in Tampa, he didn't really use the tight end until the top receivers got hurt.
Yeah.
A lot, at least a focal point. I'm sure he still used them,
He's
but
primary
not more
11
of a
personnel, not
Yeah.
Liam Cohen. He
Yeah.
like prefers 11 personnel to 12 personnel, which 12 personnel to tight ends.
Which gives you an advantage with Brenton Strange because he can block. You don't have to like hide him or disguise him to get him out in a route. He can either block or he can take
catch,
off and run. You can also throw him in the backfield. I love that kid. I think he can be. I always thought like Brenton Strange could be a use check type player. You know what I mean? He can play tight end. He can play a little bit of fullback.
Yeah.
He can run. He can ISO block. He's very aggressive. He threw Calais. Who did he throw out of the club? It was Calais, wasn't it? Like his first rookie year, just tossed him. Calais was not happy about that, but I thought that was fantastic. And a ballsy move by a young player going after a vet like that. So that was kind of cool. But he's the guy that you can utilize in this offense. It's just a matter of how much you can use the tight end in the passing tree. In the passing route, like how much are you going to gift him? I would imagine 3 to 5 targets, somewhere in that range, and then disguise them the other ways. But I think Brian Thomas is going to be the go-to guy. I mean, think about it, 83 receptions, 2 different quarterbacks, and they didn't go to him until like week 7, 8, 9, or whatever it was. I think it's going to be big. I know who I'm going to.
I would love to see Brenton Strange more involved. And I know we compare what he did in Tampa, but I do feel like Strange can do a little bit more than maybe what you expected Cade Otton to do. And
fair enough.
The type of tight end he had down there too. So maybe he says, "Oh, I have a different type of guy that I can." To Tommy's point, you don't have to feel like you're disguising anything because he can do all of it.
Right.
Which I feel like we haven't had that type of tight end in quite a bit also because Evan Ingram was more of the receiving type of tight end. And so now you have somebody who can do multiple things, that true tight end to me, in which I love that.
Like Luke Farrell. I mean, Luke Farrell was your blocking tight end. Now, on occasion, he'd go down to seam and make a play, and then they never go to him again. They tend to do that.
That's
the
what you
past
get, won
couple
the game.
years. They did that with Strange, too. Strange would have 20-yard gains running over people, and you never see him again. You're like, did you not just see what he just did? Like, why are you going back to him? But yeah, you can
running over some guys too.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And then Ingram was more of a pass catching guy, so I think it was Strange. Yeah, you put him out there, whether it's first down, third down, long distance, short yardage, he can handle it all.
Do you remember how excited we were? I want to say it was like around 2014 when the Jaguars signed Julius Thomas from the Broncos.
Oh yeah, heck yeah.
We thought future
We're like, here we go.
Tight end in Jacksonville has arrived. Unfortunately, like a lot of those signings, it did not go according to plan. I mentioned Jarian Jones earlier, former FSU corner, certainly now Jaguars corner. Tonight he'll be signing autographs at Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles. So make sure you make it there between 5 and 7 p.m. and you get to hang out with number 22, Jarian Jones.
Sorry, real quick.
No,
this
you're
is
good.
funny talking about Julius Thomas because I wanted to go see. I just wanted to look at how those seasons look because I kind of forgot. But so in Denver, obviously he was in Denver previous to that. So he had 788 yards, but he had 12 touchdowns in back-to-back years in Denver, and then he gets to Jacksonville and it was 5-4. And 281 yards his last season here.
Underwhelming.
So,
yeah.
Who was 2014? Who was the QB?
That would have been Henny, and then Bortles would have been
Bortles
drafted.
came out. Okay,
Yeah.
so Gabbert was already gone. He was 11-12. What was he? Somewhere around there.
We blacked those years out.
It's kind of like
told suppress those. We're never bringing them back.
Kind of like Blaine Gabbert would black out when he was in the pocket. The pocket was collapsing. So the Jaguars signed Julius Thomas March 19th of 2015. Yeah. So definitely the Bortles era had begun. Yeah. You said earlier you weren't going to be a quarterback because you couldn't throw the football. I was like, well, it worked out well
We
for
also
Blake
had
Bortles.
people here who couldn't throw football. Not Blake. Blake could throw.
Yeah.
Blaine Gabbert, I don't know.
Blaine Gabbert has a beautiful throwing motion. It just, he wasn't.
He was terrified and everything would sail. Like,
Bortles balls would definitely sail.
They were a little ducky.
Yeah, I tell you, I was doing a show back then with Gabbert, and a woman called in and she said, "You know what, Tom? It's like the perfect hunting dog. It's beautiful, it's fast, it's very instinctive, but then it hears the shotgun and it goes absolutely insane, and it'll never be a hunting dog." I'm like, that's pretty good. That was spot on.
Accurate. Yeah, that is accurate. Also, I wanted to mention this yesterday. We didn't get to it, but Ndamukong Suh officially announced his retirement. 5-time Pro Bowler and certainly won a Super Bowl. I just wanted to mention that because we talk so much about how the interior of this defensive line hasn't been good enough.
If you talk about a scary man, that's
Can you imagine if Ndamukong Suh had played here for 13 years?
Gosh, that'd have been incredible. Remember him in Nebraska?
Yes.
I mean, I
Yeah,
remember
he was
him
in-
just destroying people in Nebraska.
He's a vicious man.
He was absolutely insane. Good for him. 13 years, man. That's
13 years.
That's
yeah.
a blessing to be able to play that long in the National Football League.
And
for
he
sure.
announced his retirement a year to the day of when his father passed away. And
yeah.
it was a really sweet sentiment. All right, Taylor Dell has a tangent on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
Let's take a look inside 1010XL.
Who wants the Grand Tour? That would be terrific. That would be great.
We have the drill in the morning.
Very amusing.
Jaguars today from 10 to noon.
Good.
Helmets and Heels until 2.
Yes.
XL Prime Time and the Franchi Show afternoons.
This is great.
Then Baloo and Hacker take you into the night.
All in one location.
1010XL.
60 days from now, you'll be one of these two guys. The first guy, sluggish, foggy, and feeling like he just can't keep up like he used to. The second guy, driven, strong, and confident. Why? Male Excel's breakthrough microdosing protocol, a daily low-dose testosterone. You don't have to be the first guy anymore. Be the second guy. Take the same steps he took. Try MaleExcel.com. 100,000 men chose wisely. Your move.
It's a test of skill, courage, and nerves of steel. Take your shot at the Open Championship with 1010XL's You Pick 'em contest. Teed up by Hello Windows and Doors. You could win $1,000 of jewelry from Beards Diamonds. Enter at 1010XL.com.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple of years ago. Went smooth as silk, was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Our son Eric's a Division I collegiate baseball pitcher who is having shoulder pain. We took him to Southeast Orthopedic Specialist and are confident that he's now on the road to recovery. This is Beth Anderson, and we love the care Eric receives at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Frank Franzi here for Coil Fencing. Jacksonville's full of memorable sports moments. Remember Tiger Woods' 60-foot putt on the iconic 17th? Gary Coate called it better than most. Better than most. Well, Coil Fencing is better than most. They're better than all. Coil has been that for nearly 100 years. So if you're in the market for a new fence, I recommend calling Coyle & Sons today. That's at 904-356-4821 or visit coiljacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com.
Summertime is busy with graduation parties, summer barbecues, festivities, family gatherings. The month of July, National Carpet Cleaning Month. So Zero Res is offering $45 per room of carpet clean and 20% off air duct cleaning services as well. Schedule your appointment at ZeroResJacksonville.com or call them 287-5727 and ask for the 1010XL special. Zero Res, spelled backwards or forwards, it spells the same. Zero Res.
Zero Res.
When your plumbing backs up, your septic's acting shady, or your AC quits on a 95-degree day, who are you going to call? Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Don't take just our word for it. Here's what real customers are saying about their experience with our company.
Megan in the office was so helpful and polite. Scheduling was easy, and the tech showed up right on time.
From plumbing and septic to air conditioning, we do it all. Call 904-862-6769 or online at duckrooter.com. When you're stuck, call the Duck.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I only like to recommend the best, which is why I'm proud to say that I chose Pella Windows and Doors for my own home. And now's a great time to upgrade your home with 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years of interest-free payments on the best windows and doors in the business. Don't wait. Schedule a free consultation at PellaJacks.com or visit their showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. For quality you can trust and savings you can't miss, that's Pella Windows and Doors.
Hi, folks. Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Ever wonder what to do with leftover paint that you don't want? Here's a few options. Paint can be placed in the regular trash if it's dry. Simply stir in kitty litter to a thick consistency. Then wait a few days with the lid off till it dries. Also, if the paint is good, there's many charities or churches that would love to have it. If you'd like more tips or have a project, we'd love to help. Go to performance-painting.com. Performance Painting. Repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
Attention skilled electricians, are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experience, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Are you ready to play this summer? At the First Coast YMCA, we're committed to being your home for health and wellness and a place for friendly competition with team sports for adults and for kids. Basketball, volleyball, pickleball, flag football, soccer. The Y has something for everyone at any age. Discover all the benefits of YMCA membership and find your fun this summer at the Y. Registration for team sports and summer camps is open now. Visit fcymca.org.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hi, I'm John Haney from Clearwater Gutters and Drainage. After heavy rains, the problems are obvious. Mulch blown out of your beds, water standing around your foundation, and that fancy new crater back behind your bushes. Let Clearwater Seamless Gutters help you solve the problem spots.
Clearwater Seamless Gutters. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at gutters.
And drainage too.
Find out more at clearwaterjacks.com.
AA Automotive helps keep your vehicle in dependable and safe condition. Call Sam, Harry, or Joe, and they'll check your brakes, tires, fluids, electric, and motor, so your ride runs smooth on the road. That's AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, brought to you by Baker Glass. The former Florida State Seminole Cal Raleigh, catcher for the Seattle Mariners, added to his historic season last night, winning the Home Run Derby. Raleigh defeated the Rays' third baseman Junior Carmenaro for the Derby title, joining Ken Griffey Jr. as the only Mariners player to win the Derby, and also became the first player to win as a switch hitter. The Big Dumper has had an incredible first half, leading the league with 38 home runs, and now fittingly is the Home Run Derby champion. The Tampa Bay Rays have been purchased by Dreamfinders Home CEO and Jacksonville businessman Peter Zalupski for a price of $1.7 billion. Current Rays owner Stuart Sternberg purchased the team back in 2004 for $200 million. Although neither group has commented publicly, the sale is expected to be final by September. It's 86 degrees at 2:59, time and 10, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
1, 2, 3, my baby don't mess around because she loves me so, and this I know for sure.
It's a good day to be a New York Jet in the sense of, well, yesterday and today, in the sense of your pocketbook certainly got a lot bigger. That would be because you have Sauce Gardner, who just got paid a 4-year deal worth $120 million. And yesterday, Garrett
They're handing out
Wilson-
money this week.
That they are.
Yeah, they are.
Do they want to hand that type of money to us? Garrett Wilson now also got the extension as well. He's one of the highest paid receivers in all of the league. Very well deserved for Garrett Wilson and for Sauce Gardner, honestly.
Yeah, Brian Thomas Jr. just went, yeah.
I did hear about that.
A couple years and I'm in, man. At 120 would be about 180.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's always obviously going to keep going up. But yeah, 4 years, $130 million for Garrett Wilson. And they haven't had a steady quarterback there. So once they actually have good quarterback play, we'll see how much better Garrett Wilson can be.
I want to see Fields up there. You know, I'm willing to give him a shot, see what he can do.
Yeah, certainly.
You know?
Me too.
Yeah, he's, I mean, granted, you do what you do, but I was on the camp of sticking with him and not drafting.
I was too.
Caleb. But whatever, you do what you got to do, and we'll see what he can do in year 2. But Fields to the Jets could be an interesting thing. They got a good O-line, they got a good defense. They're 2-star players. They just got paid, and they're really good. I mean, they are. Garrett's very good. I mean, Brian Thomas is just as good. Sauce, he's in a league of his own for being the corner that he is and has been for over the years. But Good for them, man. Good for them. Big money.
Travis Hunter sits back and says, let's see how much one day I can get paid if I'm both a really good receiver and a really good corner. Really break the bank at that point in time.
Yeah.
Also, the Chiefs agreed to a new deal with Trey Smith, 4 years, $94 million with $70 million guaranteed.
Yeah, he's a beast, though.
Yeah, he
is.
So protecting Patrick Mahomes there in Kansas City just got... as far as more expensive for them.
It sometimes feels like Trey Smith can do it by himself. Honestly, I'm like, there's 3 guys against Trey Smith, and you're like, well, he's got it handled.
Yeah, he does, man. He is. He can handle anybody for the most part, one-on-one, and he's just a monster of a human being that can really move. And he always has a scowl on his face, which I really,
me too.
I really like. I want my lineman walking around with scowls on her face.
Yeah, I like
leave me alone, or I'm going to block you into the wall. That kind of stuff.
But Sally definitely played with a scowl on his face.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think most of our line did. Like, Leon, are you kidding me?
Too.
Leon was like a bull, even in practice. He'd get in his stance, and he'd be like a bull, and the air would come out of his nose. He's just like, I'm going to kill you. He'd be in practice, like, Leon, take it easy, man. It's only a Wednesday. But no, that was the attitude, you know.
It's Wednesday in June, Leon.
Isn't it interesting, though, you think about, like, different teams. They just seem to get those kind of guys, you know, up front. I don't know.
Or defensively, too. Like, there's certain teams, like Pittsburgh, I feel like, historically, the Baltimore, like, that you feel like there's certain teams that just have those guys in the trenches that scare people.
Yeah.
It's called a good general manager.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a good general manager for player procurement, then you can pay guys left and right, and they're not going to be good.
I think it's even higher. I think it's that ownership saying this is what we want and this is what we're going to have. I tell you, for the Steelers, they always seem to find a pass rusher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The second guy,
One
not
lead,
necessarily
one comes in,
Highsmith comes out. Who's Highsmith? Next thing you know, he's got like 8 sacks. You're like, where do these guys come from? How do they find them? But they find them. You know, it's just interesting how that kind of shakes down different teams and different organizations.
One other NFL contract note, 30 of 32 second-round picks have yet to sign their rookie contracts because of their basically expecting fully guaranteed money because the two guys that have signed did get fully guaranteed money. Right. And now the rest of the ones in the second round are saying, I'm not going to sign unless I get guaranteed money. So at this point in time, the Chargers have already reported because they are playing in the Hall of Fame game. Yeah. And the Chargers' second-round pick, Trey Harris, who I think is going to be really good, the Ole Miss receiver hasn't signed. Yeah. So they're already at camp, and so I'm glad we don't have to deal with that because we don't have a second-round pick.
Yeah, that's true. And I joked about that. I was like, James Gladstone, when I saw that stat, I was like, James Gladstone thinking ahead and not getting a second-round pick so he doesn't have to worry about that contract. But I did see also, I guess there's only 30, I'm trying to think of the number, so 31 of the 32 haven't signed in the second round. So I guess 32
of the 32
players or something, or 33 players, and it's like all second rounders, and then Jack Kaiser are the people that haven't signed yet. And I was like, that's kind of interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't. You think they'd figure it out? I mean, just it's going to be a little less as you go down the second round, right? You're going to have so the top 2 have fully guaranteed. The next guy is not going to have as fully. You know, it's close, but it's
less
not
guaranteed.
And they just keep going down. Why is it so difficult?
Make it difficult.
Yeah, Tom Pelissero back on May 9th had already said this is going to be an issue. Because Carson Schwessinger and then Jaden Higgins both got those fully guaranteed deals. Yeah. Both of the GMs, the one for the Browns who has already made the GM for the Browns, Andrew Berry, he's the one who gave Deshaun Watson the fully guaranteed contract. And then, Nick Caserio for the Texans gave that to Jaden Higgins. So again, if I'm a second round pick, I'm not signing unless I get what they got it. Yeah. I want that full and guaranteed money. All right, time now for Taylor Dahl's Tangent.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
Quick thoughts on how annoying to me the home run derby was last night. And it sucks because I love the home run derby. I really do. And even if I don't have a dog in the fight for the home run derby, it's been entertaining for me. But the broadcast, the coverage-wise was terrible. You couldn't track any of the home runs because the cameras are all over the place. Number one, let's just see the home runs actually be hit. I know they're trying to speed it up, but maybe take away some of all the extra things you're doing. You're having the guys come out of this moving thing through the dugout, and Pat McAfee has this long, crazy introduction, and there's all these other things. We don't need that. We're here to watch home runs be hit, and I would like to actually see the home runs be hit, not the camera jerk around and try and figure out and follow a ball. And because by the time one doesn't even land before another pitch is getting thrown, so you don't even get to see everything. And then next thing you know, they're like, oh, that one went 289 feet. And you're like, that would have been nice to see where that ball landed. So that was frustrating to me. I also think kind of the format, and Lauren, you and I were talking about this too, just in general, the bonus and all of these kind of crazy things that they've added in the recent years. And I know to them, they feel like they're making it more exciting, but I'm telling you, people turning on the TV to watch the home run derby just want to watch home runs be hit. And at the end also, rather than going to like 10 decimal places to decide the winner, how about we just have a swing off and let these guys hit some more home runs, because that's what this is about. And so to someone to lose by like a 0.00005 decimal because his home run was that much farther is very dumb to me. I saw the Brent Rooker's quote on it, and he said, maybe if they have it to the decimal point, they should display that during the Derby and not wait until everyone's done to bring out that information. That might be helpful. So it's not even like they were letting the players know that, hey, this is how we'll decide it if it comes to a tie at the end. I think they just kind of last minute were like, oh, well, we have the information to do it, so let's do it. But it was kind of frustrating, and it's taking away the excitement for the Home Run Derby for me. And I've always been like, I get more excited over the Home Run Derby than I do the All-Star Game. And so it's kind of just lessened. It's softened the last few years, and I don't like it.
I always felt it was like kids for the kids. You're doing the home run derby for the kids, and now it's all commercialized, all this stuff, all the circus act. Just go out there, and I'm with you. Just hit the home runs. Look, I played baseball growing up. I loved the All-Star game, but we loved the home run derby. You just want to see them knock the heck out of the ball, way out of the park, and then you got all the kids running around trying to field it.
Yeah, the one kid robbed the one home run.
I did see that.
That was great.
I was like, that's
poor
not
Jazz
what you're supposed to do. Yeah,
Jazz Chisholm. I was like, oh, he only hit 3, I think, and that I was like, this poor guy. I would not want to do the home run derby.
Yeah. So for me, it was exciting because obviously we've been following Cal Raleigh all season long.
Yeah.
His nickname is the Big Dumper. I feel bad because he doesn't like the nickname. I just call him Cal Raleigh.
Why?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's because he's got the big.
And McAfee said the fattest ass in Major League Baseball. That's how he announced him, and he walks out, and I was like.
I mean, did you ever follow Bartolo Colon's career? Like, Big Dumper is not as big, but either way, it's good for Major League Baseball that Cal Raleigh won. I get that. I really wanted Junior Caminero to win, the Rays third baseman. And to me, I think he would have won if it wasn't for that bonus. Like, Raleigh did get a lot of extra ones in the bonus. And I get that's part of the format.
Yeah.
I just don't like the format.
Me either.
I think they should have that timed interval, whether you want to do 2 minutes or 3 minutes. And you get the one break and then to reset, and then you're done for that round. And then if you move on. And so to Taylor's point, you had Raleigh advance in the first round because his one home run was 1 inch longer than the next guys. And it's like,
but he hit the 4th most home runs, I think it was. I think he hit 17.
Yeah. So again, though, I would have done away with the bonus. In general, I did appreciate that the kids in the outfield looked a little older. So other than, don't tell them not to rob a home run. But normally I feel like
whatever, that's his time to shine. He's like,
I'm going to be a major leaguer. Look at this play.
I'll show them.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that, kids. But I feel like they've usually been younger. And the whole time I'm watching that, I have like
someone's
a little bit of anxiety.
I think someone last year did get hit. Like, I remember one hit their head, so maybe they got him a little older this year.
Make sure they can catch flying balls.
They used to
throw them out there.
And how much depends too on the person pitching. Like, we've seen guys lose the home run derby because their dad can't like BP with them, and that's also a problem. So it's cool. That was a cool storyline with Cal. Obviously, his dad was pitching and his brother was catching for him.
Right.
So that's a cool moment. And then the video got released of him as a kid saying like, "I'm the home run derby champion." All those storylines are fantastic. So, and obviously he's one of the hottest storylines coming into the All-Star break, especially home run wise. So if you want somebody who's hitting a lot of home runs to win the home run derby, you've got that.
And FSU baseball is having a great week because a lot of their guys got drafted fairly high. And so Jacksonville in general is having a good baseball week as products out of here.
Yeah,
but
there's a ton.
Certainly FSU as well. All right, we've got lunch to give away.
We do. Free lunch to Chick-fil-A. Give us a call at 641-1010. Let's say caller number 1 today gets free lunch to Chick-fil-A.
Fastest dialer and you win the free lunch. That's right. Be very quick. All right, we've got more to do on the other side, including today's Terminix Pest of the Day. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
There are moments in every life when we're faced with a choice that could change everything. He's going for it. Great, glorious day. Choose 1010XL.
When you're a little kid on the playground, they tell you don't hit back. Well, the courtroom isn't a playground. And if you've suffered an injury or death in your family, I'm here to tell you it's okay to hit back and fight to make them pay. I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and at Hastings Injury Law, we understand all the pain and emotion that comes with being wrong. And we've dedicated our lives to making things right for people like you. So if you get hit back with Hastings Injury Law. Offices, Jacksonville.
Hey guys, Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels. It's the little things like a peach milkshake on a warm day that make summer sweet. And now you can head to your local Chick-fil-A and enjoy a favorite summer treat again. Hand-spun the old-fashioned way, the refreshing milkshake features Chick-fil-A ice cream and peaches. It's the perfect cold treat to enjoy outside on a warm day or with friends and family after dinner. And it's here for just a limited time, so swing by your local Chick-fil-A and treat yourself today.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Tired of high energy bills? Well, replace those inefficient windows and patio doors now. Don't miss Renewal by Anderson's summer sale. Buy 4 windows or doors and get the 5th one free. No money down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months, but this offer expires July 31st. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
As a law enforcement officer, safe roads are one of my top priorities, ensuring everyone can get home safely each day. Some never will, due to aggressive driving, being distracted, or speeding on the roads. And too often, that results in the toughest part of my job and the longest walk in my life. I'm so sorry. I have some very sad news to share with you.
9 people will be killed on our Florida roadways today. Don't let it be you or a person you love. Buckle up every trip, every time. Let's get everyone home safely. A message from Florida Department of Transportation, Target Zero. For more information, visit targetzerofl.com.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold's recently hit an all-time high at over $3,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Kick off another college football season with players, coaches, and insiders of the best conference. The Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing SEC Media Days. Opened by Window World of Northeast Florida, Underwood Jewelers, and Florida Pest Control.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, buddy. Why so glum?
Stinky ice cubes, Jason. It's all downhill from here.
What?
The tap water at my place smells kind of funky. Funky tap water makes funky ice cubes. I meet a nice girl, invite her back to my place for a cocktail, and blow my whole romantic gesture with a mojito that smells like dog's feet.
Wait, I can totally make you way cooler.
I'm not taking your charity ice cubes, Jason. I have my pride.
Your pride is safe. Our plumbers can be at your house the day you call and install a whole home water purification system. Water tastes better, dishes come out cleaner, even your hair feels better after you shower.
Ooh, the ladies love a man with soft hair, don't they, Jason?
Life moves pretty fast. If you spend every day worried about the water in your own home, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
I-9 Sports covers the First Coast with all kinds of sports for kids ages 3 to 17. Fall and winter registration is open right now, like girls volleyball at Duval Charter Bay Meadows, plus plenty of co-ed programs in the Tri-County area to keep your kids active. And being part of a team creates great camaraderie and commitment. Year-round sports all across the First Coast. St. John's, Duval, and Clay, sign up now for the fall and winter. It's all at i9sports.com. Enter 1010 in the promo code for a discount. That's i9sports.com.
Joint replacement surgery is always a tough decision, but relief from chronic pain may be just around the corner. Dr. George Barber here, and there's a lot to consider to make sure you get the proper diagnosis and best path back to the range of motion and mobility you had. Age, lifestyle, and overall health all play a part. Let the team at Barber Orthopedics give you a full analysis to help you make the best decision. Log on to BarberOrthopedics.com or call the office to make an appointment. With offices across Jacksonville and ready to help you feel good again, we'll get you back on the road to recovery at Barber Orthopedics.
Life doesn't wait, and neither should you. Aleve can help you deal with pain less throughout your day. Whether it's a long day on your feet, a demanding workout, or everyday aches and pains, you need relief that can keep up when pain persists. Aleve is here for you with longer-lasting body pain relief compared to leading OTC-branded pain relievers. With just one pill, Aleve lasts up to 12 hours. Don't let those aches hold you back from doing what's important to you. Use as directed.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's about as bad as it could be.
Let's head up to Atlanta as we jam out to some Shania Twain. Frank Frangie, are you going to the Shania Twain concert later
I
this
don't
month at
know.
Terminix, please? Okay.
I don't know. We're talking about it. We haven't confirmed or denied yet. So maybe. I got 2 nights to. We got 2 cracks at it, right? Isn't that what it is?
That is correct. It is Tuesday, July 29th and Wednesday, July 30th. So I will be at one of those shows, and I am definitely looking forward to it. We were just talking about the Home Run Derby last night. So before we get to the reason you're up in Atlanta for SEC Media Days, what were your thoughts on the Derby?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I think Cal Raleigh is a machine. That's what I mean. It's amazing. He's the best home run hitter in baseball right now. He should have won it. He's the best home run hitter. He's got the most home runs. Cruz hits him a mile. The Caminero guy, I didn't know much about him, but Raleigh's the best one. It was fun. Matt Hayes and I went and got a little dinner and then came home and watched it. And yeah, it was fun watching it for sure. But Cal Raleigh, I mean, I remember him at FSU. He was kind of just a guy, you know. He was a good catcher. And he was okay, and he certainly wasn't the best catcher in that era of Mike Martin baseball. And all of a sudden, he's Babe Ruth. He turned into Babe Ruth, so it was kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, certainly. Let's get it to, like I said, the reason you're up there. SEC Media Days, kicking off the football season here shortly. You chatted with both Kirby Smart and Gunnar Stockton. What was the vibe you got from those guys?
Yeah, I think Gunner's a cool guy, Lauren. He is not what you would expect as a quarterback. He looks like a nice kid, really nice kid. He looks like a kid that was like the trainer or the manager on the team, or maybe a backup receiver, and someone said, hey, look, you're going to go to SEC Media Days, go buy a suit, okay, get a suit that fits. And you would have thought he was one of the young TV. You know the young TV guys. You've been here enough to this thing, Lauren. That the young TV guys, they get their new suit, right? And it's the first time they've been an anchor, and they represent. They're like the weekend anchor in Orangeburg, South Carolina, right? And they're 20 years old or 22 years old. They show up here. That's what Gunnar was like. A wide-eyed, really nice kid. But look, he hadn't won the job yet. Ryan Puglisi's going to compete with him. But he was very respectful, very fun. Kirby Smart's an old veteran. I can tell. I've interviewed Kirby every year here. That he goes from being the guy that just got here to being kind of the old hat. And so I think Kirby's frustrated, not with Georgia's results, but with what they're doing with college football these days. But it was kind of fun. Georgia will be right in the thick of it, I can tell you that.
Frank, do you think that Kirby brings Gunnar Stockton to SEC Media Days if he doesn't feel like he's QB1?
Yeah, you know what? That's a great question, Taylor. I hear you. He probably doesn't bring him if he doesn't have a great chance to win that job, right? To your point. But Kirby also is respectful. He's respectful if the media has to do a job. He's respectful that fans want to hear from the guys they know the best. And he always brings a quarterback. I'm a big believer, and Lauren's heard me say this, Taylor, 1,000 times. Every team should bring a quarterback. If you haven't chosen a guy, pick one of the 2 that are in the competition and have him come talk about the competition. But all 16 teams should bring a quarterback because you're here for the fans, and the media is a conduit to the fans. And to not show up with your quarterback. Now, listen, in Tennessee, I understand they lost their quarterback at the end of in a weird way. But I think Kirby brought Gunner. Remember when Gunner earned his way here? He had to go in a very difficult situation last year when Carson Beck got hurt. He played his butt off. He won the SEC championship. They hung around a little bit in the championship game before losing, or in the playoffs to Notre Dame before losing. He deserved to be here. I think he's earned the respect of his teammates. And, yeah, I think he's here, Taylor, because he has a pretty good chance to win the job, but I don't think it's an automatic. Ryan Puglisi, by the way, is a big-time prospect. Denny Thompson, who knows all these guys, was telling me, Gunner's a good player. He's never going to – Gunner's not an NFL player. Gunner doesn't have an NFL arm. Ryan Puglisi is an NFL talent, and that's why he's going to compete with Gunner for the job.
Hey, Frank, you find it with these coaches, especially the older guys, they're just kind of – they're annoyed by the whole NIL, the portal, teams trying to poach their own guys. I mean, it's just got to be a lot of headache and a lot of pressure. You find that, you mentioned Kirby said he didn't like that part of it. You finding that to be, kind of a thing up there?
I am, Tom. Let me tell you, it's a great question. Let me tell you where these guys are. They're annoyed as hell by it, to your question. But they also know that's the world we live in.
Yeah.
And if they act too annoyed by it, then they send the message that they can't handle it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you can't say you're annoyed by it, because then you're saying you can't handle the world we're in now, and you're telling players you don't want to see them make money. And you can't say that or you won't be able to recruit anybody. So you can't say it. But to your question, I can read between the lines. You can read, it's different. Kirby Smart had the best, and the first question I asked him was about this. He said it's now transactional. It's not about relationships. Who gets the best transaction? Who makes the most money? That's the job you take. And if you can't, he made another good point. And Joe Cowart pulled this quote out on the program, that the day of somebody's backups being better than somebody else's starters is over. Back in the day, Tom, when you played college football, if you weren't a starter at Boston College, well, you know what? You waited your turn because a senior started ahead of you, right?
Yep.
And then ultimately, when you got your turn as a sophomore, junior, then you went and played, and the freshman and sophomore waited behind you to be the middle linebacker at Boston College, right? That's the way it worked.
Yep.
It's not like that anymore, bro. If you're not starting ahead of Tom McManus, then you're transferring to Syracuse. That's what people do.
Right.
And I think the fact that it's like that drives them crazy. They can't say that because then they're sending the message they can't deal with it. But, yes, I think your read is correct. I think it drives them nuts, particularly the guys that have been around it for a long time.
Frank, as far as the players that have come through, whether they've sat down and chatted with you or not, who's been the most impressive physically? I remember a few years ago we saw Jordan Davis, the Georgia defensive tackle, up close and personal, and we were all blown away.
Of all the big physical defensive guys I've seen, and we see a lot of those coming through here, Georgia always has the defensive guys. Lenora Sellers so far for me. Now, we've only seen half the teams. Lenora Sellers looks the part. Lauren, he is 6'4", I'm guessing. They list him at 6'3", 6'4", probably 225 pounds. He looks like he could be a starting two-guard on South Carolina's basketball team. He looks like he could be the starting center fielder on their baseball team. He's a quarterback, but he looks like he could be a slot receiver or a move tight end. I've probably been more impressed with him, how he looks, how he feels, how he acts, than anybody I've seen so far. Now, again, only half the teams have been here, but I've been overwhelmingly impressed. I can see why there's all the buzz about Lenora Sellers. Shane Beamer was telling us off air a little bit about just how he's a regular guy, man. But he looks, to your question about who looks the part, he certainly looks the part. But you're right. That's the thing you see here, is I tell people this all the time. I'm very blessed. I live in this world where 20 times a year I get to be around NFL players, and 10 times a year I get to travel with them. And then here I come and I see 50 college players. Well, they look different, right? Lauren, to your point, they look different. Well, every now and then you see a handful of these college guys that look the way those NFL guys do. That's your question. And as NFL quarterbacks look, this guy looks that way for sure.
And Lagway tomorrow might also be in that category.
I can't wait to see him because they say he's big and thick. I've never seen DJ up close. I watch the games on TV, and so I see the close-up shots on TV like everybody else does, but I've never shaken his hand. I've never been around him. But they say he looks like a linebacker, right? They say he looks like a right-handed Tebow is what everyone says. So I can't wait to see him, and that'll be tomorrow. And by the way, we will have all the whole Florida contingent. Caleb Banks, the defensive lineman, Jake Slaughter, the center, and of course DJ Lagway. All three are going to be on our program tomorrow as is Billy Napier. In fact, Lauren, I think we might ask you if we can jump in. I think in the 3:30 slot is about when they're all going to start showing up. So towards the last part of your show, if you're not too booked, we may do some of that live on your show.
Our show is your show. Frank.
Help yourself.
Well, how about that? So there's that. Let me write that down. My show. Okay, good to know that.
I did want to direct everyone, Frank, because if you do head over to our YouTube channel, we have several of the ones already. Brian Kelly, Lenora Sellers, Josh Pate's up there, Kirby, and Gunnar Stockton will be headed up there soon. But if you also go over to the website, 1010xl.com/SEC Media Days, all of that stuff that you guys have been working on. And speaking of that, Josh Pate, you spoke to him, and the Gators are tomorrow, so we'll get a little bit more sense of when we hear from Billy Napier and company. But when you're up there at Media Days right now, what is the chatter around Billy Napier and kind of we know the recruiting side, we know the portal side. It feels like that's been a strength, and this is his best team that he's had there at Florida. But what is the mindset of the coaching ability of Billy Napier when it comes to in-game situations?
I think, we haven't gotten into that part because there's a lot to unpack there. But I will say this, Taylor, as far as big picture, the vibe around Florida is they're irrelevant. There's people here talking about Arch Manning and Texas. They're here talking about Georgia. Does Georgia still have the talent they once had? They're talking about the fact that LSU has the best returning quarterback in the country among those. The real reality about Florida is that they are Missouri. They are Texas A&M. They're Arkansas right now. That's how the conference looks at them, and that's how the conference is going to perceive them until they earn their way back into the elite. So I do think there's a little buzz about Lagway. He's the one. He may be the one outlier to what I just said. But I don't think we haven't even gotten to Billy Napier as a strategist. To your question, It's just and by the way, you mentioned the Josh Pate interview. We're going to play it on our show coming up in just a bit, and then it'll be on our social channels. Josh Pate, I think, might be the best college football analyst going right now. He is really good on radio. Going to join us hopefully on a regular basis in the football season. He joined us probably 4 or 5 times last year, and he is really, really good. So he speaks to that. He got to know Billy Napier pretty well. He got to know the Florida program pretty well, among others. So that'll be a really good listen, Taylor, to Josh Pate, and it comes up later on in our program today.
Hey, Frank, what team in the SEC is under the radar for you? Which give me a team you're saying, like, man, you better watch out for these guys that maybe we're not thinking about. Is it Florida? Who else might it be? Florida's
on that conversation, Tom. I think Florida's one of the teams that it sounds crazy, doesn't it, for Florida to be the under the radar team?
Yeah.
But I think they are. I think Florida probably fits into that category. I will tell you this. The analysts who cover this league closer than I do, and you know this, Tom. Back in the day, I did college games every week and a lot of SEC games. And now with the Jaguar job, I don't see many college games in person. I do one a year or one every couple of years, so I don't see them like. But the people that I talk to here that cover it on a regular basis, that are always there, they say watch out for Texas A&M.
All right.
Mike Elko's a really good coach. He coaches with a toughness. He's a defensive mindset. You'd love him, Tom. He's your kind of guy, man. He's a tough guy. He believes in defense. He believes in playing the right way. And they have a quarterback coming back who's very athletic and certainly was very good for them last year. So I would say the two teams that nobody's going to pick to be in the top 3 or 4, but you better keep an eye on. Florida's one of them. And if Florida's got that tough schedule, but they're one of them. And I would say Texas A&M is probably the other.
Okay, cool.
All right, Frank, what's coming up in addition to Josh Pate?
Yeah, we're going to have Kirby Smart. We did Kirby live on primetime, but I want you to hear it again. Kirby's so good. And you know what? I will tell you, too, Lauren, he's one of the guys. A lot of coaches don't come by here. The radio row is harder than ever before because there's more stations than ever, but there's more rooms they have to go to, all the ESPN rooms and the SEC Network rooms and the ABC rooms and the On3 and this and that. So there's so many rooms they've got to get to that Radio Row can become an afterthought to a lot of these coaches. Not to Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart comes by every year. He does both Atlanta stations. He does us. He doesn't do all of them. He does Chuck Oliver's show. He does about 3 or 4, but he's really good. So he's coming up today. Gunnar Stockton's coming up today. My old friend Tony Barnhart's coming up today. Tony is celebrating 50 years of covering the SEC. He's retiring this year, Tom, and he's one of the all-time good guys. And he's going to talk. He's doing a farewell tour where he's going to all 16 cities this fall and going to write a book about his last trip to all 4. So he's coming up on the program today, and we hope so. Josh Pate, Kirby Smart, Tony Barnhart, Gunnar Stockton, a number of other players. We're hoping Josh Heupel makes it by in time. Josh has the late rotation today, but if he gets done with all he's trying to do, we're hoping he makes it by probably in the 5 o'clock hour. So that's all coming up today on the program.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Frank. We'll be listening.
Okay, thank you, guys.
All right.
That's a lot coming up on that program. And yeah, I agree with him as far as Josh Pate. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, he's very good.
He has his own show. And yeah, he's very connected and very good at what
I hope we hear from Heupel. I want to hear. There's obviously some drama with that quarterback exchange. So I feel not that they'll directly say who's going to win, you or Nico Iamaleava, but maybe we'll get something in that sense.
That is true. My guess is he doesn't really discuss it even if asked about Nico leaving, but we shall see. All right, one segment to go here on Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Bring in the heat. Your summer station. 1010XL.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie, and I've got to tell you, I've heard Hacker and Mike and Matt talk so much about Awaken 180, how easily they were able to lose weight, how it works, the personalized coaching, the food choices, the whole bit. And I was really impressed. So when my daughter Amber told me she was trying to lose a few pounds, I recommended it. She and I both connected with the folks at Awaken 180 to learn more. Well, she started and she absolutely loves it. She said the food choices are perfect for her. She loves her coach. She believes it truly will improve her overall health. Man, there's not much better than hearing your kid excited. I can assure you nobody means more to me than my daughter. And I wouldn't trust just any company to help her. But I trust the folks at Awaken 180. If you are ready to kickstart your transformation, you should give them a call at 844-346-1800 or visit awaken180weightloss.com. It's helped our family. It truly has. It can help yours as well. Give Awaken 180 a call today.
Guys, your lawn's the home field. Now you can champion your St. Augustine grass. TopDressing.com just hit Jacksonville with a game-changing patented process. Aerate and transform your turf into a fairway-worthy masterpiece. Less water, shorter cuts, and the envy of every neighbor. No one else delivers a perfect 10 lawn like this. Visit TopDressing.com and dominate your block with the same process that golf courses use. Top dress your lawn like the pros with TopDressing.com.
Frank Frangie here for South State Bank. At South State, they believe strong relationships build strong businesses. That's why they take the time to understand your goals, challenges, and vision so they can provide solutions tailored to your needs, like they've done for me for years. South State has always been there for our business and our charity. With a team you can trust and a commitment to personalized service, South State Bank is here to be more than your bank. They're your partner in business. Visit southstatebank.com. South State Bank, member FDIC.
It's Mike Dempsey, and now's the time to get your roof hurricane ready with Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jacks Beach. Look, our rainy season is no joke, and if your roof's got damage, leaks, or it's just plain worn out, don't wait. Apex is local, dependable, and will show up on time using only premium materials with ironclad warranties. No shortcuts, no stress, just quality work you can trust. Skip the storm season scramble. Reach for the peak with Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jacks Beach or visit apexroofingfl.com.
Frank Frangie here. Nimnik Buick GMC has the largest selection of GMC's impressive SUV lineup, like the all-new redesigned GMC Acadia and the highly sought-after Yukon and Yukon XL. Curious about an EV? Save big with the all-new GMC Hummer EV SUV and truck, plus the all-new GMC Sierra EV. With outstanding cash incentives, now is the time to take an EV test drive. Shop 24/7 online at nimnikbuickgmc.com or head to the showroom on Phillips Highway. GMC, we are professional grade.
This Day in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On July 15th, 1923, Bobby Jones wins his first of 13 major championships after he wins the U.S. Open on an 18-hole playoff.
Okay, for this Cannons of Jacksonville commercial, we need an idea to really come out with a bang.
Like having a guy shot out of a cannon.
Nah, too messy. In fact, Cannons is known for all your towing needs.
So like my car won't start.
No. Towing products. Cannons does custom welding fabrication and installation of trailer hitches, goosenecks, tow bars, truck racks.
So you might say Cannons is my best shot at finding that inventory in stock?
Boom. You said it.
Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
Hey, poker players, Christmas in July is back at Best Bet, along with daily high hand promotions. This month, get ready to cash in on over $700,000 in high hands at all Best Bet locations. And ride the waves into Best Bet St. Augustine for chances to ride away on a Yamaha Wave Runner. From table games to tournaments, Best Bet has a spot for everyone. Visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com for all the exciting details.
Storms don't wait, so why should you? Protect your home and your wallet with Universal Roof and Contracting. Save 15% on roof replacements and repairs now through July 31st. And financing is available with payments as low as $115. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting. Protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
Denny Thompson here. You gotta check out Tyson's Showroom Home Theater with surround sound and comfy theater chairs. You can transform your living room into a cinematic experience. I can stay there to watch all my games. It's that comfortable. Call Tyson today and bring the theater experience home. Tyson Sound and Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming, Iowa.
Say goodbye to glasses and contacts with customized vision treatments at Bowden & Associates. Hey, Hicken here. Dr. Bowden and his expert team bring you all the latest options like Evo implantable Caliber lenses, refractive lens exchange, or traditional LASIK. Tailored just for you. Imagine waking up to clear vision. No hassle, no fuss. You ready to see the difference? Call now or visit BowdenEye.com for a free screening. Bowden & Associates, keeping the first coast focused.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
Since we just chatted with Frank Frangie up in Atlanta for SEC Media Days ahead of the football season, which is really just about 6 weeks away now, college football season. That is exciting. I will give you Pat Dooley's 5 interesting players at SEC Media Days this week. Georgia linebacker C.J. Allen, his day today, he had 21 tackles in his last 3 games. So he's certainly a player to keep your eye on for Georgia. We talked to Mark Weiser last week, Taylor, about the Bulldogs defense, and he specifically, the first guy he mentioned was C.J. Allen. Yeah. We know how good Georgia defensive players have been, offensive too, but
they've put a few in the NFL.
Defensively a few in the NFL, just to the Eagles, like we talked about earlier.
21 tackles a game, or
21 tackles in his last 3 games.
Okay, so 7 a game.
7
okay,
a game. Yeah,
that's cool.
Pretty good, right?
Tommy's like, that's all right.
Yeah,
not really, but it's okay.
Well, I'll double check that it wasn't.
If it's 21 a game, now he's making a lot of plays. But look, with Georgia's defense, they're all so good. It's hard to get, nobody's racking up 15 tackles, I don't think. Maybe a safety if he has to. But
they move guys. Like, that was one of the conversations that was had about Trayvon Walker, was because he played kind of all over the place at Georgia. He didn't have his stat numbers. More people were like, what are you doing? Aiden Hutchinson had this number and this number and this number, and Trayvon didn't, but that's because Georgia does, their defense runs a little bit differently. Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, I don't have the game split, but that's what I'm going with. All
right, that's good. Let's just say 21 a game. Good job, kid. Way to go. Keep it up.
The guy who will be there tomorrow, Florida center Jake Slaughter, he's an All-American, and Gator fans just so excited that he's back with a lot of returning offensive linemen. This guy, Frank and Matt talked to yesterday, LSU linebacker Whit Weeks. He had 15 tackles, and I do know this for sure, 15 tackles against Alabama in that game and 15 tackles against Oklahoma in that game.
That's playing ball. That's good.
Very good there. Ole Miss wide receiver Caden Lee, he caught 57 passes for 874 yards last season. And, of course, we know Trey Harris is gone. And so Austin Simmons certainly will be targeting Caden Lee. And then finally, Alabama defensive lineman Tim Keenan III, 6'2", 324 pounds.
Oh my
Fire
goodness.
plug.
You talk about a guy that you're not moving as if you're an offensive lineman, that would be him. All right, time now for today's Terminix Pest of the Day, as always, brought to you by our friends at Terminix. You can find them online at Terminix.com. That's TERMINIX.com. They're coming out to our house later this week to once again spray for mosquitoes in our front yard and our backyard, and also take care of any sort of pest issues, just like they do for Everbank Stadium, ViStar Ballpark, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, and all of your favorite event venues around town. I'm going to set this up, and then RJ's going to play a specific fight song, but not the correct fight song. Just a few minutes ago at SEC Media Days, Texas head coach Steve Sarkisian took the podium, and instead of playing the Texas fight song, they played this, which is the Texas A&M fight song. You can't
laugh.
Make that mistake. Yeah, you can't make that mistake. Like, I understand that there's 16 teams now. It has expanded from 14 to 16.
Yeah.
You still have to play the right fight song, people.
Yeah.
There's a massive difference between Texas and Texas A&M as far as the schools are concerned. They're bitter rivals.
Oh, yeah. And that's what, if you go onto my Twitter, I reposted a video of a friend we've had on the program, CJ Vogel, who covers Texas football. In the video, Steve Sarkisian's face. He's just like, what?
Someone playing a joke on me?
Am I being punked right now?
Yeah, right.
Like, what is happening?
What a flub.
Yeah.
Jeez. Got one job.
Yeah.
Screwed it up.
I will say another thing CJ Vogel tweeted also coming out of these media days, which is interesting that not other teams, I'm guessing maybe this affected one of the games they had last year, but he said beginning this year, broadcast will no longer be able to cut to a commercial following the third overtime of games. Broadcast must stick with the game until the conclusion of the contest instead of commercial breaks between each overtime period.
Well, that's a good thing because there's already too many commercials.
Yeah, for sure.
You need to get those games over with.
Yep.
A couple other news and notes I wanted to hit. The Rays owner Stuart Sternberg has agreed in principle to a $1.7 billion deal to sell the group. We had the kind of breaking news on our show a few weeks ago, Taylor. Yep. Selling it, of course, to the Dreamfinders owner, Patrick Zalupski, who wants to keep the team but move the team from St. Pete to Tampa, not to Jacksonville. I know people got excited. But I think that's a really smart decision. Yes. We've talked about that for years, that St. Pete, you don't want to have to make all the Tampa people go 45 minutes to the stadium. We already knew that the Trop was one of the worst stadiums, if not the worst stadium in all of Major League Baseball. And I did see also today that Rob Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball, said that if the Rays make the postseason, they are able to host the games at Steinbrenner Field, formerly Legends Field, and even the World Series. If they were to make it to the World Series and host games in the World Series, they would now be allowed to do that at Steinbrenner Field. Wow. So a spring training ballpark could
hosting the World Series would be a little
wild. I'm not predicting that the Rays are going to be in the World Series at this point in time, but
I feel like people paying the money to go to that might not be too happy.
I mean,
it's nice, but it's
a nice
not
ballpark.
Yeah. But when you're talking about, and I guess not all, there's some very bad stadiums that out there aside from Tropicana that you talk about too. But it'll be an interesting conversation once that comes up. But I do think it's smart to move to Tampa. I think that I obviously went to USF, so I'm very familiar with that area. I love St. Pete personally. Like St. Pete as a town, as a city, is so cute. Everything you want. It's on the water. There's a lot of food. There's music venues. There's all these cute shops and all of this stuff. I love St. Pete, but I do think that it's the Tampa Bay Rays. Like, you move it to Tampa. It just makes the most sense. And I get the arguments are going to be like, okay, well, the Patriots are in Foxborough, whatever, and you have those type of things. But I do think that in this sense, Tampa Bay Rays fans, you want to have in Tampa, and there's plenty of space in Tampa. It's not like you don't have the area or land there to build a nice stadium.
I think these teams need to be in the city. You know what I mean? Like Wrigley's right in the city. You know, Comiskey right in the city. Jacksonville right in the city. Like, I don't like when they moved the Dolphins up to Lauderdale. Like, what are they? The Lauderdale Dolphins? They're not Miami anymore. I mean, there's something to it. You know, the Bears got to stay downtown. I know there's a lot of talk about going to Arlington Heights. Foxborough gets it done. They're grandfathered in, but I mean, the Red Sox are right there in the middle of the city. And if the Patriots are ever in the middle of the city of Boston, it would be insanity, no question about it. So I don't know. I don't like when teams are out of their city.
Days, honestly, like when I went up for the AFC Championship game, it's not much. It's not much around there. First of all, you have Gillette, and that's it. And that there's like not many. I think it's like 2 on each side lanes that you're going. So traffic's terrible. It's terrible to get in and out. Which you get that in a lot of downtown areas, but there's nothing to do if you're like, let's wait out the crowd. There's literally nothing around it because you're not in Boston. If you're in Boston, you could go party and have a good time.
You got
after
public
the game.
transportation. You know, you don't have to drive your car. You know what I mean? You can get around it. So I don't like when the different organizations put their stadiums outside the city. It doesn't have the same feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. For me, anyway.
By the way, Stuart Sternberg bought the Rays for $200 million back in 2004, and he's selling it for $1.7
pretty good investment.
billion. That's the thing. If you can
Smell you
afford,
You'll
you
never
can
hear from
afford
me again.
a franchise, whether it's NBA, Major League Baseball, obviously the NFL. If you can afford it, or if you could have afforded, especially back then, like 2004, which isn't that long ago.
Yeah.
Man, you made a ton of money. And the final,
I think the Bears were bought for $1, and it's like,
I think I have read that before.
I want to say I saw there's like this place down south that it's a Chicago themed restaurant, and they have the original, like maybe not original paper, but a duplicate of the original thing, and it was like $1. I'm like, okay, well, that's a good investment, I guess. Also,
seriously. Last thing I wanted to mention: the Browns rookie running back Quinshon Judkins was arrested on a domestic violence and battery charge over the weekend. That's the second rounder that the Browns used, the one that the Jaguars, of course, gave them.
Now, this will be interesting because we talked about this when we were talking about Travis Hunter not signing his contract yet. Like, if an injury happened and he didn't have his contract, what exactly does that look like for him and for the league themselves? So this one is also interesting because he hasn't signed a contract, so I don't know if the NFL can punish him in any way because he hasn't signed anything with the team physically.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how this is going to, if this ends up getting worked out before he signs his contract, I don't know how much the team itself could do if they want to do anything.
Yeah, right.
Who knows? It's the
But
Browns.
he'll sign the contract at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, then they'll hand down the punishment, whatever that is. That's not going to happen. Do we have time for Teddy Bridgewater? That story's kind of weird.
Okay.
Do we have time for that or no? We're out of time?
Yeah, we're out of time, but we can certainly get to that tomorrow.
I want to talk about that tomorrow because I
Yeah,
feel like that opens a lot of different conversations
For sure.
between high school and college football.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no
What's
doubt.
allowed and what's
No
not.
doubt.
But right now, let's head back up to Atlanta and say hello to Frank Frangie.
Now, the 2-minute drill on 1010XL.
Frank, we haven't talked to you in a while. How are things?
It's been a long time. I barely even recognize your voices. It's been so long. What I'm doing now, we are in the stalking Josh Heupel mode. That's where we are right now. So we are, everything else is set up for the show. Josh Pate at 4:20, Gunnar Stockton after that, Kirby Smart after that, Tony Barnhart. We got a lot of fun stuff coming up. But we really want to get Josh because like Lauren, I heard you say earlier you didn't think he would talk about the quarterback situation. Well, he didn't have any choice. Everybody he turns around is asking him about Nico, and he said, listen, we got 3 guys competing for the job. It's Nico's one guy. He's gone. I'd rather talk about the people that are here, not the ones that are gone. But yeah, so we're looking forward to that. But I tell you what, as I told you a minute ago, it's been an interesting trip here. It's been a fun trip here, and the hits just keep on coming today. I'm telling you, make sure Josh Pate's coming on at 4:20. Be sure you listen to that. If you want someone, and Lauren, I know you know this because you and I've had this talk, and I heard you talk about it after I got off. But he really knows college football, man. He's what so many of the best in the business were 20, 30 years ago, only is it now. So Josh Pate at 4:20. I think people will enjoy that interview.
And he has very big biceps.
He's not very big. Although I don't think he spent as much time in the gym in the off season. He's been working and stuff, And what about Moscona, by the way, down? Have you seen Moscona, Lauren?
I have not. I heard you talk to him yesterday, Frank, about like how good he looks and healthy he looks, and I was like, good for him. We were talking about it yesterday, Frank, on this show. I'm the only one without big biceps on our show now.
You know what? I tell you what. Mine aren't particularly big either, Taylor. So I'm right with you. Okay, so I can relate to that. But I'll bet Matt's lost 35, 40 pounds, and he looks fantastic.
Right,
again, he owes Lauren Brooks a push-up contest.
Yeah, maybe it's time to get this going.
Yeah, and listen, as I told Matt, I thought FanDuel, DraftKings, MyBookie, they all had Lauren as a prohibitive favorite before. 5-1, 6-1. But now it's more pick 'em because Matt's in good shape, Lauren. I just want you to know that.
I inspired him, Frank.
Yeah,
clearly.
Yes, you did. Yes, there's no question. So but we're having a lot of fun here at Media Days and a lot coming up in just a bit.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Thanks. We will certainly be listening. And like you said, Josh Pate right off the rip at 4:20, as well as Kirby Smart and Gunnar Stockton. And And Tony Barnhart celebrating 50 years in the business. And
He's
then,
great.
Yeah, he's awesome. And then maybe Josh Heupel.
Yeah, and I will say on that Josh Heupel conversation, I think one interesting thing too, if you're not asking directly, Nico versus Joey Aguilar, the conversation of building a team around a quarterback and losing them in March, and then having to pivot everything, your entire offense in March of what you're going to do. And I know teams do that with injuries, but the situation's unique in the way that it happened.
Yeah, certainly. So all that coming up on the Frangie Show that follows us. That'll do it for us today. For Taylor Dahl, for Tom McManus, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow, but don't go anywhere. The Frangie Show comes up next.